Welcome to Project Design with the TeamPort platform. This Getting Started guide explains the simple steps needed to join the community, acquire and install TeamPort software, and then to a cloud-based server. Once the TeamPort software is installed and connected to a cloud-based server, we'll begin learning about project design. Project design is a model-based approach to planning and performing projects, especially effective for complex teamwork. Project designers build models, also known as digital twins, and generate forecasts using analytics and simulation. They lead others to explore trade-offs and strengthen mental models. Together, teams converge on high-performance project architectures and behaviors. GPD is committed to supporting your teams with the TeamPort platform, our services, professional development, and participation in the project design community. Let's begin with installation of the TeamPort software. The TeamPort platform consists of several applications, including Designer, to build project models, Forecast, to explore predictions of project performance, and Design Walk, to view a trade space of project models created over time. Let's review a few requirements for the fourth generation of TeamPort. TeamPort runs on one of the following operating systems: Microsoft Windows versions 10 or 11, a recent Mac OS version 12 or greater, or Linux, for example Ubuntu. Also, your TeamPort license provides an initial user ID and password, and the host URL and port number of a cloud-based TeamPort server. Please visit teamport.com if you have not already acquired a license. There you can also download the software. Since installation of Windows, Mac, and Linux are slightly different, let's take each in turn. On Windows, once downloaded, please run the TeamPort installer. A language selection dialog will appear followed by the install wizard. If TeamPort has been installed previously, the installer will inquire about overwriting the previous version or installing in a new folder. Once installation is complete, a TeamPort Designer icon will appear on the desktop or in the Start panel of your OS. The Designer application is the starting point for accessing TeamPort. Installation on a Mac OS takes a different approach. After running the installer, an Apple Disk Image (DMG) with the TeamPort icon will appear. To complete installation, please drag the Designer application from the open DMG into your Applications folder. In addition, on Mac OS, one may need to Control-click the installer to allow the option to install. GPD is a certified Apple developer and submits and notarizes all released applications for macOS. Still, in some cases a user may see the following message when launching TeamPort the first time. It may be necessary to select Open anyway in the Security and Privacy section of System Preferences. The steps are shown here. TeamPort software also is available on Linux and has been tested on Ubuntu with GNOME or Mate desktops. The instructions here show the installer as a compressed.sh file. Once the installer is decompressed and set to be executable, the installer will proceed through a wizard similar to the steps for Windows. After the Linux installer finishes, please allow launching for the .desktop file that is placed on the desktop. Now that the software is installed, let's begin. First, please launch TeamPort Designer, then configure the settings so that we can connect to a TeamPort cloud-based server. A login dialog for TeamPort should appear. Please enter the username and password that you were provided, but please don't click Login just yet. Before doing so, please open the Configure panel so that the settings for your server can be entered. As part of your license, the host URL and port of a TeamPort server were provided and should be entered as the communication settings. Next, please click Login to continue. It may take up to 20 seconds for the Designer application to connect to the cloud-based TeamPort server. If Designer is unable to connect to a server, a message indicating the reason will be shown above the username panel. Since TeamPort is network-based, several issues should be considered to ensure effective performance. A good connection is required throughout a design session as Designer listens for changes from other users and the TeamPort server. Please make sure that your computer's firewall or network are not blocking connections through the host port. For example, in the example shown, the firewall should allow connections on port 4001. We also suggest that TeamPort not be left running when not actively in use. When not in active use, please save your project and log out of the session. During project design, if TeamPort seems unresponsive, please consider the recommendations shown here. Make sure that an project element is not locked in edit mode by selecting Done in the detail pane. Check to make sure that you have a good connection. If you find your network connection has degraded, it is a good idea to save the project often. It is reasonable on a caution to refresh from the Tools menu, or to log out and back in. Since each project model is cached on the TeamPort server in the cloud, it is also no problem to kill the client application, Designer, and to restart the application. After connecting successfully to the cloud server, TeamPort Designer will appear showing the world map in the Locations view. Designer shows the ID and name of the current project model bottom center, and your user and connection info on the bottom right. When first connected, it is a good idea to check if others are also logged in. TeamPort supports multiple users working concurrently on the same project model. From the Tools menu, one can open the chat window and see if other users are currently logged in. Each user is provided a username and initial default password. We highly suggest that the password be changed on a regular basis to increase security. The password change option can be accessed in the Help menu of Designer. After submitting a new password, look for indication of password change success in the lower left status area. Congratulations! This concludes the video on getting started with installation. You are now ready to begin building project models. Many resources for beginning project designers are available at teamport.com, including user guides, videos, courses, case studies, and sample models. The next video in this series is Getting Started TeamPort Overview. Once again, we welcome you to the project design community.